Hello and welcome to the video. Today is the showing off of my new and improved JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Minecraft data pack. This video is going to cover the first 15 stands from part 3 and how to use them. Also warning, this video obviously contains spoilers to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure part 3, just so you know. So if you enjoy the video, leave a like, consider subscribing, and keep a lookout for the next videos. Also check out the Discord if you want more current updates and you can hear a little bit more from me about the pack. Alright, we can get right into it. The first stand is obviously Star Platinum. As a general tutorial of how to use the stand, you can see at the top it tells you the abilities you have and what button to press when you use them. So how it's going to work is you have a little item in your inventory. If you hover over that item, you can see a little description of what the things that your stand can do. And this is also going to be how you activate all of your abilities. You're going to be holding the item and you're going to do what it says to do on the top of the screen. And you're going to press each of those buttons while holding the item to activate each of those abilities respectively. The first ability is activated by right click, as you can see at the top. If you're aimed targeting at an enemy, you can right click and Star Platinum will attack them with the first attack. This attack is targeted, so you're going to have to be hovering generally over the enemy that you're trying to attack in order to actually hit them. Alright, now the second ability is Barrage. So if you see at the top, I'm going to activate what my button 4 is. This would normally be whatever button it is to drop the item in your inventory. So activate the button. And as you can see, Star Platinum comes in front and does a barrage, and it damages generally enemies in front of you. So it's not as specific as the first attack, but it is still generally ranged. So if you see here, I have multiple enemies, it can do damage like this, and with a little bit more leeway of when it's going to hit them. And finally, the last ability for Star Platinum is obviously Time Stop. So if you can see at the top, I'm going to activate by pressing G. This will normally be whatever your swap to offhand button is. So I'm going to activate Time Stop now, and alright, and as you can see, mobs are stopped, entities are stopped, anything other than you or somebody else who has a Time Stop ability is going to be completely stopped during this attack. So it's going to stop mobs, it's going to stop players, it's going to stop players from using stand abilities other than other Time Stop abilities, so everything is going to be frozen during this time. Alright, the next stand is the world, obviously. So for the first ability, again, it's going to be the same button layout as before. Right click is going to be for the first attack. The first ability is going to be a backstab attack. And so this works best when the enemy is facing you, because what it's going to do is you're going to right click on them and you're going to teleport behind them instead. Okay. The second ability is going to be a barrage, very similar to Star Platinum's. Pressing the button, the world is going to come out in front of you and do a barrage that damages multiple enemies kind of generally in the area in front of you. And last but not least, the world's last ability is Time Stop, of course. Same thing as Star Platinum. You're going to press whatever your swap to offhand button is while holding the head, and it's going to activate Time Stop. Now this is going to function exactly the same as Star Platinum's Time Stop, just with the world obviously as your stand instead. And the interesting thing here is, while in Time Stop, another player who has the opposing Time Stop stand as you can activate their Time Stop to move during your Time Stop as well, and vice versa, of course. So if you had the world and someone else had Star Platinum, they could activate Time Stop, stopping you, but you'd still be able to use your Time Stop ability to break out of the Time Stop and move freely for however long your Time Stop lasts. Alright, the next stand is Hierophant Green. The first ability for Hierophant Green is going to be Emerald Splash. This is going to be a ranged attack, activating with right click again. It's going to fire like that. See? Alright, the next ability is Possess, and the way this is going to work is you're going to have an enemy near you, and you can activate the ability. Hierophant Green will possess that enemy, and it will take them away from you no matter what. Alright, and for the last ability is Emerald Barrier. So the way Emerald Barrier is going to work is you're going to place down the stand, and it's going to have an area effect. And so if you see here, I'm going to place down Hierophant Green. And so the way it works is anywhere around in this green glowing area, if entities move, they're going to take damage from Hierophant Green. So if they stand still, perfectly fine, nothing will happen. But anytime any enemy moves, they're going to be taking damage. Alright, the next stand is Magician's Red. The first ability on this stand is going to be a Fire Blast. It's going to have an area effect around you. So if I right click this, it's going to set things on fire. It's going to deal damage to things around me and leave whatever burning effect it has behind. The next ability is a ranged ability. It is similar to Hierophant Green's Emerald Splash, but it does have a little bit of a difference. So if I fire it over here by pressing my button 4 on my mouse, it sends a projectile, which not only damages the enemy, but also leaves a fire trail as it goes. And then the last ability is going to be Fire Tornado. So the way this is going to work is by activating it, somewhere near an entity. Wherever my cursor is, I'm going to be placing a fire tornado that drops down, lands, and deals damage to things that are in the tornado. And this goes all the way up to the top, so it damages things that are down here by the center and in a bigger radius over around to the top. All right, the next stand is Hermit Purple. The first ability for Hermit Purple is pretty simple. It's going to be Visions. You're going to right-click, and it's going to highlight all mobs in any direction around you, so you can see everything through walls, everything like that. Now the second ability is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be Vine Grab. So I'm going to activate it pointing towards an enemy generally, or multiple, and it's going to grab them. You can hold them out, you can lift them for just a second, and then it's going to let them go when the ability is done. And the last ability is going to be Vine Trap. So entities near you, when you activate it, they're going to be affected by slowness, so it's going to be harder for them to move around. The next stand we have is Silver Chariot. So Silver Chariot's first ability, again by right click, is going to be Stab. So it deals 2 instances of damage to an enemy that you're kind of facing, and it can deal damage to multiple entities at once. So if we place 2 husks right here and we activate it, it is going to deal damage to both in the area that's kind of generally in front of you. And the second ability is going to be a Barrage, similar to the other stands like Star Platinum in the world that have a Barrage, where you can activate it, and it's going to deal damage generally in front of you with a little bit of a bigger range and a longer duration of damage. And now the last ability is very different. This is Silver Chariot Requiem, which I know is technically part of Part 5, but it's included here because now Silver Chariot's part of Part 3 still. So the way Chariot Requiem is going to work is you're going to place down your stand. Requiem is going to be there, and anywhere inside this general area, mobs are going to be disabled, so mobs aren't going to move, make sound, anything that aren't going to deal damage or anything like that. And any players that are in this area can't use their stands as well. All right, the next stand is Grey Fly. Grey Fly's first ability is also going to be a projectile. It's going to be a small spit attack. So if I right click towards an enemy, it's going to deal a tiny projectile that does a little bit of damage to the mob in front of me. The next ability is going to be Bite. This is going to be a short range ability that just generally in front of you, if there's an entity here, you can press and activate it, and it's going to bite, deal some damage to the entity that is in front of you. Now the last ability is Roaming, and this is sort of a general ability. The way it works is it's going to send Grey Fly out to random entities in a general area around you and deal damage to them. So if I send it out, you can see that the entity that it's on is highlighted, and they're going to be taking damage until they die. And as you can see, it's random, so whenever these entities die, it can go to any of the other entities nearby. And you'll always see, because they're going to be glowing, so it's going to be easy to figure out which entity it's on. So now it's on someone else, so if you look, then it's that villager now instead. All right, the next stand is Dark Blue Moon. Dark Blue Moon's first ability is a movement ability, so if I right click, I'm going to get water around me, and the way it's going to work is I can swim in any direction for a second for a little bit of a water dash. The water all goes away afterwards, so no worry about that. The next ability is Barnacles, and the way it's going to work is it's going to be an area effect, kind of like Hermit Purple's third ability, Vine Trap, where entities around you, when you activate the ability, are going to be stuck, but they're also going to be taking a little bit of damage at the same time. And the last ability is Whirlpool. This is going to be similar to Magician's Red in Fire Tornado. So if you activate it, generally where your cursor is, it's going to drop down a whirlpool that is going to deal damage in a larger radius as it goes up, a smaller radius down at the bottom. Now the next stand is Strength, and this one is going to be a little bit weird based on the way that I designed it. The first ability is going to be an area damage attack again. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click, and it's going to place down a crane that knocks enemies back from the center area away. And so it does in all directions, deals damage in every direction. Now the next ability is a lot more strange, because the next ability, if you activate it, it's going to send you and players nearby you to the boat. Now you're here at the boat. This is its own area. It's completely separate from everything else, and it's gonna. And the way it's gonna work is it's gonna send you, the captain, up into the area up there, and everyone else around you is gonna be sent down below under the ship. And the way you leave the boat is gonna be through this wheel right here. So you can just walk up to it, and it will send you back to the main world. Again, like I said, the stand is really weird, but just because of the way that I wanted to actually implement the boat without it being kind of locationally based. All right, and stand number 10 is Ebony Devil. The way this stand works is first you're going to activate the right click, like this, and you're going to become basically like the Devil Doll. And so while this ability is active, then you can activate the other abilities. So the first one being Rage, which if you activate, it's going to give you strength and regeneration for a couple of seconds. And then the next ability is going to be Trap. And so what this is going to do is it's going to cycle through one of your trap abilities that you can place. So if you activate it, it's going to be targeting based on where your cursor is. So if you want to place it above this enemy, generally like that, it's going to activate, and this one place an anvil. Now if we wait for it to reload again and we activate it again, this time it's going to be placing a TNT. And then if we wait for it to activate again, this time it's going to place lava. So it's basically going to cycle through every single time. You're going to get a different one. It's never going to be the same. And it's going to be in order. So it's going to be anvil, TNT, lava, and then it's going to repeat. And so another thing about this stand is when you're in doll mode, you are half the size. So you can fit through 1-block holes. If you look here, we can fit in 1-block gaps. But the downside to it being is you have less health. So you're a little bit more vulnerable to attacks, but you're a little bit faster and you are a little bit smaller, making you harder to hit. All right, so the next stand we have is Yellow Temperance. And this, if you watch my previous video, you'll know that this is the first of the new stands that I've finally added since that last video. So the first ability is going to be a damage aura, so it's going to deal damage around you. If you activate it, it's going to deal damage to entities in the nearby area. And then the next ability is going to be Life Drain. So it has a little bit of a closer range, but if you're close enough to an enemy, you can activate it and they're going to be tagged with Life Drain. You're going to get regen while they're taking damage for as long as they are. The last ability is going to be Shapeshift. And so the way this works is it requires other players to be online. So if there's any other players online, which currently there's not, but if there were, activating Shapeshift would give you a random player head from the pool of players that are online. As minor as this seems to be, I have played with this with friends before, and it does actually give a good amount of confusion in the moment. So of any players that are online, it can pick any random player and it will give you their player head that you'll be wearing as a mask over yours. All right, the next stand is Hanged Man. Now this stand was incredibly hard to make because of the nature of it working through reflections. So the way it works is we're actually going to start with the second ability because the second ability can be activated whenever you want. And so the way that's going to work is nearby, if you're looking at an enemy, you can activate it and it's going to break glass around them, and Hangman is going to work through reflections to deal damage to the entity near you. Now, the other abilities are going to be based on reflective objects. And so mainly this is going to be glass. And so the way it's going to work is normally if you see reflective image and stand sight aren't available right now. And so the reason for that is because you're not looking at a quote-unquote reflective object. So right now it's not visible, and then if you look at the glass, you'll see that reflective image appears as an option to do. And so when you activate a reflective image, what it's going to do is it's going to place Hanged Man in that block. So it's going to be in that reflective block. And you can keep activating whenever you like, and it's going to move Hanged Man to the next reflective block. The range on reflective image is about 40 blocks, so you can move him pretty far, basically in any direction that you can see. Now the last ability, if you'll see, is now available, and the reason for that is because Hanged Man is somewhere in the world now. So the third ability can only be activated when Hanged Man is somewhere in the world, and the reason for that is the last ability is using Hanged Man's vision as your own. And so when we activate it, we are now embodying Hanged Man. And so the cool thing about this is now we can use the first ability and it will teleport us around. So you're taking on Hanged Man's POV and you can move in any direction that they would be able to move. And lastly, when you're in this stand sight mode, you can still activate the second ability to deal damage to enemies. And so if I want to stop using the stand sight mode, then I'm going to press the button again, and it's going to send me back to the little locator exactly where you were when you activated stand sight in the first place. Again, if you could leave some appreciation for this stand, that would be awesome because it was so hard to get this to work in a fluid and perfect way. I mean, just look at it. Look, this guy's in the glass block, and if I right click over here, he's in this glass block. I think that's so cool, like genuinely. All right, the next stand is Emperor. Emperor is a gun. Plainly said, it's a gun. The first ability is you're going to right click and it's going to shoot. Obviously, so you fire a bullet, but the interesting thing about this bullet is two things actually. The first one being it has homing. So even if you shoot a little bit away, about 3 or 4 blocks away, it will still hit the enemy nearby. Now the other interesting thing is that you can direct the bullets as well. So if you shoot or you turn, the bullet is going to follow, which I think is so awesome. So what this means is you can obviously angle your shots a little bit. You can turn your shots if entities are moving, so it'll be a little bit easier to hit. But again, you activate it, and then whatever direction you're looking, it's going to kind of go in that direction. And the bullet will go for as long as you like. You can deactivate the ability early to kill the bullet before it actually hits anything. And the second ability is Fan the Hammer. And so what this is going to do is this is going to fire 3 shots that have the homing still, but don't have the aiming that you can do manually. So you're going to fire them. It'll fire 3 bullets up in an upward direction, and they'll go. They still home within like 4 blocks of an enemy, but you can't track them and change the direction like the first ability. Now the next stand is Empress. Empress was also hard to make, but it wasn't as cool when I finished it. So sad. But the way Empress works is the first ability is Infectious Spit. So in order to use any of the other abilities, there has to be an entity that's infected. So if you right click, you'll shoot a little blood bolt, and you can see that this entity is infected. So they're glowing, but also you can see they have the little tumor on them. And so while they're infected, they serve as the host for all of your other abilities. The second one, of course, being Vomit Acid. So this is going to take place at the entity that is the host, and it is going to vomit acid in front of it. This is going to deal damage to the entity, but is also going to deal damage to entities that are in front of it that get hit by the acid. And then the next ability is going to be Biodetonate. So what this is going to do is this is going to make the tumor explode. It's going to deal damage to the entity that is infected, and then it's going to deal extra damage to entities around it, and then poison them all for a couple of seconds as well. So if we activate it like that, it's going to explode. It's going to clear this one's infection, so it's no longer infected, but it deals damage to everything around it, including itself, and then a little bit of poison damage as well. All right, the last stand that I'm showing off today is Wheel of Fortune. This stand, unlike the gun, is a car. And the way this one works is the first ability, you activate it, and you're in the car. And if you go into first person, you're in the car. It turns the way you look. You can drive it around just like a car. Now, the other 2 abilities can only be used when you're in the car. So obviously you have to activate the first ability first. The second ability is Vehicular Dash. And so the way that's going to work is if you activate it, you're going to get a speed boost, and enemies that you run into are going to be taking damage from you hitting them. So if we activate it again, you'll see that the husk takes damage when we are hitting it. Now the last ability is going to be Spit Gasoline. So this is going to be an area effect thing again. When you activate it, it's going to place down a puddle of gasoline that's going to deal damage to entities that are in the area. And so this does place, so you can activate it and then you can move away, and it's going to be over wherever you placed it. Okay, that's all I have today. That was the first 15 stands of my pack. Again, if you watched the first video, you know that I changed a couple of things, like how to activate the abilities and when the abilities are actually out. But overall, I'm really proud of where we are now. I know that I had to double back on what I was working on, and where I completely reworked basically every stand and the way that it functioned. But I think that's actually good, because it means that I can see where I need to do more work and where I need to put more energy and what I need to fix, generally, things like that. So again, if you like the video, subscribe, leave a like, because I'm going to be updating this pack more and more with more stands that I'm making as I keep making them. Again, the stands that I'm making are all going to be in order, so I can promise you the next one is going to be Justice, and then it's going to be the Lovers, the Sun, Death 13, and then Judgment. All in that order perfectly. So if you want to stick around for those, subscribe, leave a like. You can also go into the description and check out the Discord that I have, where I sometimes post more current updates, and then also look out for more videos, because this is the new map for my Capture the Flag for the test beta of my Jojo's pack that I'm going to be doing. So we do Capture the Flag. Normally it's 2v2. We all have stands, and it's a lot of fun. It's kind of hectic and kind of crazy. And so if you enjoy, subscribe, leave a like, look out for the next videos, join the Discord, whatever. I will see you in the next one. See ya.